learned to ice skate when I was young, so inline skating felt really natural to me. From the time I began skating about 4 years ago, it's become my workout and my playtime. Through freestyle skating, I can show my individuality with stunts and dance moves. I'd like to teach you how to do several of these stunts. After you learn them, you can alter them to fit your own personality and create your individual freestyle program. Before we begin working on the more complicated stunts, I'd like to go over what I feel are the 3 most important aspects of the basic skating stride. Number 1 is the sitting position. Bend slightly forward at the knees and the waist. Keep your feet at shoulder width. Your center of gravity is at your waist, and your weight should be on your heels, not on your toes. Lastly, keep your head up. The second point is upper body motion. Use the momentum of your body weight to your advantage. Swing your arms in front of and across your body, but don't allow them to swing past the opposite shoulder so that your entire upper body rotates. This would throw off your center of gravity and decrease your momentum. Number 3 is lower body motion. Remember to push to the side and back in a circular motion. Focus the push on your heel initially and then follow through, allowing your toe to dig in at the end of the push. After the push, glide while you bring your trail leg around. Regroup your knees, shift your weight to your new support leg, and push off once again. Now I'm going to describe a single counterclockwise heel-toe spin. Remember that many skates have brakes that will get in the way of the spin. First of all, put most of your weight on your right skate. Angle your left skate out to the side. As you pull your left foot in, swing your upper body in a controlled fashion counterclockwise. With the momentum you gain, you can rise up on your left toe and right heel and spin on these 2 wheels. To continue spinning, flex your muscles to stay up. Bring your arms slowly in, and the gravitational force will keep you spinning. This next trick is called a toe ride. Place most of your weight on one skate with only the front wheel of the other skate on the ground. Next, lift the rear of your weighted skate. Flex your muscles to maintain this position. A very basic trick is called the crossover. To learn and practice a crossover, skate in a wide circle. The skate on the inside of the circle will support most of your weight. The outside skate pushes out and is then placed in front of the inside skate. Remember that the inside foot is edging while the outside foot is propelling. Your upper body should be still. Drop your inside shoulder and reach towards the middle of the circle. Continue practicing until you've got it down. A real crowd pleaser is a stunt called the grapevine. The first move you need to know is very simple. It's called a pez. While in a slow forward roll, keeping all your weight on the ground, edge your right skate across and in front of your left and back again to parallel. This is called a pez. Now do the same maneuver, pulling your left foot in front of your right and back again to parallel. Next, practice these tricks while moving backwards. String the 2 forward pezes together, add a 180-degree turn, do the 2 backwards pezes, and you have accomplished the grapevine. The next stunt is an advanced move, so don't feel bad if you can't do it. It's called the sideways grapevine. First, roll to the left on your left foot. Propel yourself by pulling your right foot across and in front of the left. Next, pivot your right foot and push it back to parallel. Repeat, and you've done the sideways grapevine. This next trick is relatively easy, and it looks great. It's called a layback. To do one, drop down into a lunge position. Reach your left arm back and grab your left heel. Place pressure on the skate to stabilize it. Your weight should be equally distributed on both skates. Arch your back and raise your right arm, and you'll look like a pro. I'd like to speak a little bit about safety. Personally, I find that pads get in the way when I'm performing my freestyle maneuvers. So since I'm comfortable with these stunts and not traveling very quickly, I don't wear full gear. but I urge you to wear full gear since many of these stunts might be unfamiliar to you. The techniques I have shown you, once practiced, can be altered to your own individual likes and talents. Good luck with your freestyle.
Attention!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. My name is Doug Glass. I'm 25 years of age. I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I skate for Team Hyper. I've been professionally skating now for about a year. I've been skating altogether for 16 years. Just past year, switched over to inlines and have had a very successful year. A couple of my good successes were the Orange County Marathon and the ISA Nationals, and also the USAC Nationals in San Francisco, taking first in all 3 of those events. Finding that inline skating was definitely my thing to do, and can continue to do it, and can go on with showing you guys here some techniques. Some techniques on the front start that are real important to remember is that you want to have both feet turned far enough to where it's comfortable, but not overturned where it's going to actually hinder you. So you turn them far enough to where you bring your body back. You actually sway in a swaying motion. You wind up for it, and then you'll go into a duck walk steps. Actually, you'll be stepping in a duck walk for about 3 or 4 steps at 100%, and then your transition goes into a skating position. Here we're showing you some examples of no arm swing, and it's real important that a lot of people, when they first start skating, they think they need to use their arms for balance, but actually putting both hands behind the back is easier for you to learn to use your edges and sway back and forth, and it's actually a lot more conservative. If you watch ice skaters do a lot of it. And then there's also the one arm behind the back, and using the one arm is, I use a lot of one arm for accelerating, and not accelerating 100%, but just enough to pick up speed, and then I put both hands behind the back again and get into a nice rhythm. And it's easier to sustain a speed with 2 hands behind the back, and easier to keep your edges. Edges are very important. Skating on your edges is, a lot of people get, kind of confused on what edges are, and there's an inside edges and there's an outside edge. And it's real important to use your hips to get to the edges. You want to really sway, and if you're watching, I'm going to use ice skaters again, they have really good edges because they're on a blade. And on inlines, you need the same thing. You have to go on the outside of your wheels to the inside. And if you're skating on just one edge or the other, you're going to not only wear out your wheels, but you're not going to go as fast, and you get tired and get fatigued a lot quicker. Cornering is one of the hardest things to actually learn. Straightaways comes very natural. Cornering is something that is a technique, and you really have to practice it. Cornering is also very important it's very important to lean into your corners. You want to be able to, you want to lead with your right shoulder and lead with your right hip, turning around a left-hand turn. If you're turning the right-hand turn, then it's just the opposite, of course. You just want to lean into your corners and crossing one leg over the other.
My name's Brian King, and I skate with Hyper Inline Team, and I've been skating for maybe 10 years now. About 5 years ago, I started competing at the world level on quads, and a year ago I decided to switch over to inline since they were so much faster. The pack start is one of the more tricky elements of skating, because you have to react to the gun as well as other skaters. In international contests, you definitely want to react to other skaters, because everybody will jump before the gun and the referees never call you back. So you want to watch the other skaters' feet, and when they start going, you start going, and don't wait for the gun always. But in the US, we find that everybody's pretty calm, and you can get away with listening to the gun and starting with the gun. Now, as far as how you do it exactly, the most important thing is to get off the line quick. You don't have to take a big step, but you want to have the first step quick to make sure you get ahead of your competitors, because if you get stuck behind them, you're going to be stuck and you won't be able to take your full stride, and you'll be caught in the back. With the side start, you will line up your left foot parallel with the starting line and actually start to sway back and forth to get momentum before you start. And when you feel comfortable with your body position and your sway, you actually cross over with your right foot and just start skating down the straightaway as hard as you can. It's an alternative to the front start, and It's a little bit slower, most people think, but I've seen people win both ways with a side start and a front start. So it actually will become a personal preference. When you reach the proficiency of racing on inlines, you actually won't pay much attention to stopping. It's kind of a natural thing. You can see here Doug just kind of swaying side to side, kind of using the friction of his wheels to stop him. We don't really recommend a hockey stop because it gets a little out of control and you can flip real easy on it. But some people do a T-stop, which is all right. It's a little harder on your wheels, but it will still slow you down. A lot of times in a race, you'll get bumped out or you'll have to avoid a fall. And at that point, you can always rely on an emergency stop, which would be just find some grass. A lot of tracks have grass on the outside of the course, or dry land, and just jump out of the pack and use that grass to slow you down. And once you get out of trouble, just jump back on the cement and keep going. But the emergency stop saved me a couple times in the last race I was at, and you should learn how to skate on grass because it can come in handy in a very tight situation.
Hi, I'm Hannah Gamborg, and I started inline skating about 1.5 years ago and have been competing ever since. Before I started inline skating, I was a competitive figure skater, which I quit in 1985. However, before that, I was a world team member for Denmark. I was Scandinavian champion in 1983. But in 1984, I did not go to the Olympics due to that the Olympic Committee from Denmark chose not to represent Denmark at all in the Winter Olympics, so I didn't get to go and therefore quit after that. I was training really hard to make it to the Olympics in 1984 for about maybe 9 or 10 years before that, and I was working really hard. But unfortunately, I did not get to go. It's a lot of hard work, but it's part of competing, and you either make it or you don't, and it's okay because life goes on and you just start doing other things. So now I'm inline skating, and I'm racing, which is a lot more fair than figure skating anyways, because that's being judged, and inline skating is whoever comes over the line first wins, and I like that. Inline skating is really great, and it really feels great when you're out there skating. It's an aerobic exercise, and you work up your heart rate, and you can keep it up there for a long period of time if you just keep skating, and after a while it doesn't even feel hard at all. It just is really great. Now, if I did nothing else in the world but just skate, I'd probably be fine. But I do like to cross-train just due to being all around a complete athlete and getting every muscle in my body worked out too. So I like to do that. I am rated as one of the top female inline racers in this country, and I would like to maintain that saying, as I could say it. And that's going to take a lot of practice, and I know that. I might even get beat, who knows it, but I hope not, and I'm going to do my best not to let that happen. One way of training is training in a big group, and you skate in line, and you try to stay as close as possible, which is called drafting, and everybody skates behind each other, and sometimes when you're doing this, you need to stay really, really close, which is extremely hard because you got your head right right above somebody's butt so you're in the wind of the next person, so you're actually not working out as hard, you're just sitting in the wind behind somebody else. Whoever is in front is taking all the wind, and you get a lot more tired that way. That's why you shift off doing that. So sometimes when there is a team, that's why they have a lot of teamwork going on and a full team is working together. They do that and they switch places all the time. They take turns to pull the team, and that helps a lot for the end, and at the end you're able to pull out and go for a sprint because you're not nearly as tired as if you were sitting in front or going by yourself the whole way. When you're training in a group like that, it's almost as if you were in a race, because those are the positions that you're going to be in when you're doing the race. There are going to be a lot of people, and you're going to be drafting off of other people, either your own team or somebody else's team, and to train that way is really, really good because it gets you used to having the feeling of being in a race, as opposed to if you're out there on your own skating all the time, then all of a sudden you have to be drafting and you have to be going in and out, and there are going to be a lot of feet moving everywhere, and you're not used to it, so it's kind of shocking if you do not train with a bunch of people. Even though I really like to train with a lot of people, drafting off of each other and stuff, because it's very similar to a real race, I also like to train by myself, go out there and skate for about 17 miles all by myself to push as hard as I can, because that really gives me great endurance, and I feel like I get a lot stronger when I skate by myself than when I skate with a group of people, because then I rest and I go and I rest and I go, and it just doesn't always cut it. So I do both, and I think you should do both because it's important to be on your own also and be strong enough and know you're strong enough to be by yourself. Before I go to a race, I usually warm up in my home, at home, before I even drive out there, even if I have to drive for half an hour or whatever, just so I can warm up all my muscles. I stretch and I get my body warm. I stretch every muscle in my body. It's important to get the striding going and get the feeling with your feet and your body where you have everything. So I definitely do a lot of stretching, and it helps a lot. If you don't stretch, it's really easy to get injuries, and it's really easy to pull something in your leg or in your body, back or anything. So that is also why I stretch a lot. I also stretch after I'm done with the race so I don't get stiff, because when you're doing a competition also, there are a lot of nerves involved and your body reacts differently when you're in a race. So I also stretch a lot afterwards. Safety equipment is an important part of skating also. However, when you're racing, it is really hard to wear a lot of safety equipment because it's in a way and it's not aerodynamic. I do wear wrist guards because I think wrist guards are very important. A lot of other skaters do not wear wrist guards. They wear just gloves because they feel more comfortable with that. I still believe that wrist guards are important, and also it is required to wear a helmet, which I'm really happy it is. And it's just, you can't wear knee pads and you cannot wear elbow pads because they're really bulky and you can't move right in them, so you have to take your chances. I am not at all trying to imply that skaters, inline skaters, should not wear safety equipment, because I think they all should. This is a little different because this is a competitive sport, and most of the people that are in the races are pro skaters, so it is okay for them not to wear the safety equipment. They do skate a lot, but they also do take crashes, but they can save a lot of situations where they were going to fall, whereas a beginner would not be able to save that situation and should wear safety equipment. I see inline skating as getting very, very popular. It definitely is getting popular, but the racing is getting even more popular, I think. It's going to come up next to speed skating on ice. I see it as getting a spot in the Olympics, and I sure hope that's going to happen. It's going to be accepted, and I really believe that, and I hope a lot of other people also believe that. Now, if that does happen, you're going to see me there, because I'll be there. That's my goal.
I'd like to show you 4 the most common speed skating exercises that have been used by ice speed skaters for the last 15 years. These exercises will reinforce correct technique, and if done wrong, will transfer onto your skates, so you have to make sure that you do them correctly. They develop speed skating muscles specifically for inline speed skating. The first exercise is the low walk. This exercise exercises and strengthens the quadriceps Remember to keep your knees close to the ground, thrusting forward while keeping your legs fully extending to the back. You should alternate the arm swing, use one arm and then switch off and use two. And then again with no arms, simulating the actual style of skating you would do on your inline skates. The Gunther hop is probably the most difficult exercises to perform. It's a coordination and balance exercise. You want to bring your feet back to the center after each extension and extend out with your heels. Also, use one and two arm swing, alternating back and forth as you would skating normally. And you want to use a faster tempo with this exercise. And as you're going back and forth to the side, keep your shoulders level. You don't want to be hopping up and down. You want to be going across side to side. The dry skate is a weight transfer exercise. You want to make sure your knees are bent, your head's up, and also keep your shoulders level throughout. You can alternate your arm swing with one arm, two arms, and without, as you would in inline skating also. The crossback is a turn extension exercise. You want a good push from each side with full leg extension and full arm swings, both one arm and two arms. Before attempting these exercises, you should warm up for at least 10-15 minutes of running or jogging and stretch adequately so you don't pull a hamstring or strain a muscle of some sort. These exercises are real hard to do. And you don't want to overdo it the first time. You want to gradually ease into it and see what level you are as far as your fitness before injuring yourself. So grab a friend and go out and do these exercises. I'm sure you'll find that these will help your strength and endurance 100%.
Hi, my name is Tomato. Actually, it's Sergio, but everybody's know by Tomato. On the old-fashioned kind of skate, I like to tap dance. On inline skate, I like to break dance.